And welcome to the first meeting of the new board, 2017 season. We could let the record reflect it's May 2nd, 2017, and according to my clock, it's 7:30. So at this time, if we could please stand, move your hats for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Here.
Trustee Pinito.
Here.
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Present.
Trustee Glatz.
Present.
President Vandenberg.
Present. We have a quorum. All right, item number 1 this evening. At this time, I would ask for a concurring motion for the appointment of Michael Mangan to fill the unexpired term of Jacob C. Vandenberg.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
Properly motioned by Trustee Yonker,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Pinito. Is this a roll?
Do you want to read the...
Sure. So at this time, this is a vacancy in the office of village trustee. Was created as a result of the resignation of myself, Jacob C. Vandenberg, as village trustee, which was effective May 1st, 2017. Pursuant to state law, the vacancy is to be filled by the mayoral appointment, subject to the advice and consent of the Board of Trustees. If an appointment is approved by this village board, the new trustee will be sworn in accordance with state law. Again, this is for the consideration of the appointment of Michael Mangan. Roll call.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Pinito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yay.
Trustee Brady.
Yay.
Trustee Glatz.
Yay.
President Vandenberg.
Yes, motion carries. This time, the clerk will execute the oath of office. Michael, would you please step forward? Want to go to the front? Let's go around.
Please repeat after me. I, state your name.
Michael Mangan,
Having been elected to the office
having been elected to the office
of village trustee
of village trustee
in the village of Tinley Park,
in the village of Tinley Park,
in the counties of Cook and Will,
in the counties of Cook and Will,
aforesaid, do solemnly swear
aforesaid, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of village trustee
of village trustee
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
It's official.
All right, let's get to business.
Got it.
All right, item number 2 this evening is consider approval of the agenda. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Yonker,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Pinito. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, approval of the minutes of the regular village board meeting held on April 18th, 2017. May I have such a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Yonker, seconded by Pinito. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consideration of the consent agenda items. Madam Clerk, can you please read these consent agenda items into the record?
Item number 4, subject, consider approval of the following consent agenda items. Item A, consider the appointment of Robert Zimmer to the position of Executive Assistant to the Mayor. Item B, consider request from United Service Organizations of Illinois, Incorporated, to conduct a raffle through July 15th, 2017, with the winners being drawn on July 15th, 2017, at Apple Chevrolet in Tinley Park, Illinois. Item C, consider request from Answers for Angels to conduct a raffle on July 15th, 2017, with the winners being drawn that day at McCarthy Park. D, consider the appointment of Peterson, Johnson, and Murray as corporate counsel for prosecution for the Village of Tinley Park at an hourly rate of $200 per hour. E, payment of outstanding bills in the amount of $711,425.15 as listed on the vendor board approval reports dated April 21st and April 28th, 2017.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Does anyone care to have any of these items moved for further discussion?
I would, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Brady.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Clerk, could you have the record reflect that out of the abundance of caution, I will be abstaining from the voting on this appointment. Although I do not believe I have a direct or indirect conflict, I'm disclosing that I am a part-time employee at the Orland Township and a partner at the law firm of Peterson, Johnson, and Murray is Paul O'Grady, who is also the supervisor of the Orland Township. For that reason, I will be abstaining.
Thank you, Mr. Brady.
You want to remove 4D?
We're going to be removing item D.
Yeah.
We're going to list it as 4D. So if we could go ahead and, this would be a motion.
Motion on 4A, B, C, and E.
Thank you. So this time, can I get a motion for items A, B, C, and E?
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Yonker. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Second.
Trustee Panito. Roll call on this?
Roll call.
Roll call?
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady. I'm sorry, Trustee Glatz.
Yay.
Motion carries.
Do we get
Do we get an abstention?
Trustee Brady?
Abstention.
So we have an abstention?
Wait. Just to be clear, Trustee Brady, so we removed 4D, the item that you asked to abstain from. Those were the votes on A, B, C, and E, just so you know. We're going to call 4D separately.
Oh, okay, that'd be fine.
Okay. But the motion
So
still
motion carries.
Motion still carries, correct.
Right, thank you.
Now, 4D was removed
Right.
at the request of Trustee Brady. You should probably call that.
Right. So this time, item 4D is the appointment of Peterson, Johnson, and Murray as corporate counsel for prosecution of the village at an hourly rate of $200 an hour. Trustee Brady, are there any other further comments on this?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Trustee Brady. I appreciate your disclosure this evening, even though for the appearances of any type of impropriety, we do appreciate it. Can I have a concurring motion for item 4D?
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Yonker,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Glatz. Any further comments or questions? No? Let the reflect there is none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Abstention.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Item carries. Thank you. Item number 5, may I have a concurring motion this evening with a waiver of first reading on our ordinance number 2017-0-032, granting a variation from the maximum allowable building height to construct an addition to St. Stephen's Church.
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Yonker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Brady.
Correct.
Item 5.
Yeah, so we're going to have our discussion. Paula, would you mind covering a little bit of this for me, please?
St. Stephen's Church, probably most of us are familiar with St. Stephen's Church, located at 17500 84th Avenue. They are looking to add a 11,530 square foot addition. They're going to use this for multi-purposes, but primarily a kind of a youth room, activity room. It'll have restrooms and a utility room as well. It'll be used by the church, not rented out to anyone else at this time. The Plan Commission reviewed this because the building, the addition, needs a height variation. The height in that zoning district of R3, they are limited to a 35-foot building height, and they are looking for a 44-foot building height at the peak. This is kind of consistent with the architecture of the building that's out there as well. The variation didn't necessarily require an architectural review, but we spent a great amount of time looking at that, and I believe in the slides you'll see our planner did an excellent job, Stephanie Kistler, in negotiating architecture that was consistent with the main structure. The public hearing resulted in a unanimous recommendation for this 9-foot, 10-inch variation. The findings of fact were entered into the record as well.
Thank you, Paula.
I just had one question.
Yes, sir.
On the plans in the packet, it showed the new building and then the old building and then that space. Is that connected then? Or is
It's a continuous building, yes, sir.
Okay. So that
It's all connected.
the
Mhm.
connected part is new too, the thing that connects?
Yeah,
the-
there's like a,
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was.
it's all, the whole addition, it's a fairly large addition, sort of like a
Right.
connection, and then
So
the
light
building
gray
that has the
part of
height.
the picture is new too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Again, this is for waiver of first reading. This will be up for adoption this evening. Let the record reflect that there are none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mangan.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 6 this evening, may I have a concurring motion for the approval of ordinance number 2017-0-034, granting a special use to allow for a brewery, including sales and tasting at 6811 Hickory in the downtown core zoning district for the Banging Gavel properties.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Yonker,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Berg. Paula, again, would you like to take this?
Yes, this is an exciting project for the downtown. Some of the board members are familiar with this because an incentive agreement was agreed and approved by the board that looked at an incentive to induce this project to happen, and primarily because it's a historic building and the additional costs related to the improvements as a historic building. Banging Gavel is an existing brewery. They have been making and distributing their beer for a little bit over a year, have been very successful, and now want to move into a tap house as well as a restaurant. So the owner, who I believe is here in the audience, or a group is here, Jim Rickert, is very passionate about the building. He feels very strongly about preserving the building and making sure it's consistent with the new branding initiative that we have. As part of the downtown core district that it's in, the fact that he wants to have a brewery as well as a tap house and a restaurant, he's required to have a special use. The brewery is going to be in the ground floor of the facility. The first floor will be the tap room and restaurant. Second floor will have the kitchen and more event space. And then the top floor actually will have an office and residence in it. So the reason it says special use, again, is because it's listed in the Legacy Code as a brewery. We will also, subsequent to this, we still have some other dealings with this project, and that we're going to have to look at a plat of subdivision, so that'll be back before you a little bit later, because as part of the incentive, we are going to be purchasing portions of that property, and then we also will have a site plan approval. In this plan, you can see that they plan on having an outdoor patio to this as well. We had a public hearing on this. We did hear from some neighbors. There was some concern about existing problems with people leaving bars late at night, walking through neighborhoods. There's a restaurant residence just to the southwest of this. So we certainly are going to want to work on any kind of fencing or barrier as part of the site plan review. But it was a unanimous approval for the special use. If you notice in your packet, it's a fairly extensive, and I don't want to probably repeat it because whoever's going to make the motion is going to list this. But as part of the review, the Plan Commission requested that the delivery hours be limited because there are residences to the west. By code, they could go from 7 to 10, but the applicant agreed to go between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. for any kind of deliveries. In addition, staff had conducted a study quite some time ago about boutique liquor and distilleries and breweries in downtowns. And so we listed a series of conditions, and that's what's in your motion this evening. And they've agreed to those as well.
Thank you, Paul. This is for first reading this evening. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like the board to consider approval of a letter of agreement with Roger Brooks International for the development of a brand style guide.
Have a motion?
You have a motion?
We have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Brady.
On March 8th, 2016, the village issued a request for qualifications soliciting a vendor to create a brand style guide, which will be a detailed document containing graphic design standards for logo identity and slogan use, guidelines for website page layout, and production of printed sales and marketing materials, as well as proper use of key marketing, advertising, and promotional messaging. 5 proposals were received and evaluated by members of the marketing task force and the brand leadership team. 2 firms, Roger Brooks International and Liberty Creative, rose to the top, and each were interviewed by the task force members. The committee has recommended hiring Roger Brooks International to produce the style guide at a cost of $15,000.
All right, thank you. This item is for an expenditure this evening of funds. Are there any further discussion from the board? None? Anything from the public? Let the record reflect there are none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mangan.
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 8, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like the board to consider adopting Government Consulting Services of Illinois as the village lobbyist.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Properly motioned and seconded by Trustee Berg.
President Vandenberg would like to appoint Governmental Consulting Services of Illinois as the village's new lobbyist. The consulting firm has served a number of local government organizations. Their retainer rate would be $3,000 per month, which means they will do as much work as we ask them to do according to what is outlined in the agreement for a fixed price per month. This is similar to our previous lobbyist retainer. However, Government Consulting Services Incorporated will provide additional services of lobbying the county in addition to the state, and will also provide the village board with quarterly reports.
Thank you, Trustee Yonker. Again, this is an item for expenditure of funds. It is up for final approval. Are there any further discussions from the board?
I did have a question on that.
Sure, Mike.
It'd be directed to the attorney. I went through the agreement. There seems to be a 1-year agreement. Is there a way for us to get out if we're not happy with the performance of the firm?
Yeah, Mike, as our trustee Panito, the professional services agreement, they serve at this board's pleasure. So as you would have the authority to terminate that agreement
At any time?
at any time.
Thank you.
Any other further comments or questions from the board?
Yes, do we have any comparables for other lobbyists?
I believe we do. Dave, would you like to opine on that?
In terms of other communities that,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, there is, I will tell you in my experience, it's not unusual at all, especially for a community our size, to have a lobbyist. Des Plaines, Oak did. I will tell you, just in our area alone, Orland Park has 2 lobbyists, New Lenox, and they pay about $70,000 a year. New Lenox has a lobbyist. They pay about $36,000 a year, and Oak Lawn has one that's about $60,000 a year. So,
So the 2 for Orland, the 70 that's for 2 lobbyists?
2 lobbyists. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Good question.
Any questions from the public? Step forward. Mr. Glock, or Mr. Pause, pardon me.
That's the second time someone's
Mr.
called me
Glock's
off
being
today. But, well, good evening, Mayor Vandenberg, and thank you for letting me speak from this wonderful new podium. In regards to the quarterly reports, it should go without saying, I hope that they're being sent to all the trustees.
It will be.
Yes.
And will they be published on the village website for
It will
all?
be a public document, so I would assume yes.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is I certainly hope I won't have to FOIA them, and then, Madam Clerk, if you can see that those reports that come from this lobbyist go up onto the village website so we can see.
Yes, I have every intention of publishing them.
Excellent, thank you. One final thing. At what point will you be discussing, Mayor Vandenberg? We had the discussion previously with Mayor Seaman when he was here that he would sometimes take it upon himself as to what was being lobbied for, or you all have to agree. Is this going to be discussed at a committee of the whole as to what the village will be lobbying for, or it will be an executive session? I don't think that's, I believe actually I had asked you earlier, Councilor Connie, that's not something that you get an exception for executive session, correct?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, there is no general exception to the Open Meetings Act where this board could go in, there's no talk about what you want the lobbyists to do. It's not an exception.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a real estate deal, though, it could be, I guess, kind of in that, but, as far as where this board wants to direct the lobbyists, generally what they want them to do, unless it's, again, some type of real estate deal or something like that, I can't think of anything else. But there is no general
exception for
to
like
go talk about the
discussing
lobbyists.
what you lobby
Right,
for. Okay.
Yes. So I'd imagine this board would talk about that in committee meetings.
Committee of the whole type meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think there was a concern among several citizens that they wanted to know what exactly, the $3,000 a month was going for, what we were lobbying for, and, it wasn't like secret or something, like we all knew what was being lobbied for. As you know, with the previous lobbyists, we had no idea what was being lobbied for. I had to FOIA to get the reports for the guys. So, hopefully we start with this new lobby era, that it's much more open of what's being lobbied for and what we're getting back in the reports. So hopefully that is what happens, and that was just my comment. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments?
Hello, Mayor Vandenberg. Your first meeting is going well so far. No, just two. You've not messed up. I think Colin's messed up a few more times than you have so far as far as names. But I just want to say just two quick comments. If I stand corrected, I think one of the two lobbyists for Orland Park, I believe, is actually like a DC one. So one that even lobbies in DC, so it's not really normal to have a lobbyist. And second question is, are we paying these lobbyists any more than we were at the previous ones?
No, I believe it's the same rate.
Same one? Okay. And I guess my second question is, how did you guys come about choosing this lobbyist? Was it just through research, or?
Well, I think lobbyists are kind of a dime a dozen.
Okay.
And several reached out.
Okay.
Several did reach out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay, let the record reflect there are none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mangan.
Very good. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 9, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like the board to consider authorizing a professional service agreement with GovTemp USA LLC for provision of a temporary accountant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Pino.
A key finance staff member has confirmed that she will be out of the office for an extended medical leave beginning May 12, 2017. This medical leave is expected to span approximately 6 to 8 weeks. The leave will effectively create a void in the staffing of the finance department. The critical period of time includes preparing the closure of the accounting records for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2017, preparation of certain year-end reporting and related preparatory work for the annual audit, in addition to other daily activities normally required. In order to fill this short-term staffing need as quickly as possible, contracting staffing through a temporary agency service was sought. The village has utilized temporary staffing services on a number of occasions to fill manpower needs. The village has previously utilized the services of GovTemps LLC and has been pleased with their services and staffing candidates they have offered. This agreement will provide a staff accountant with extensive governmental accounting experience for an anticipated 40-hour work week, which will help fill the immediate staffing needs of the finance department without delays that would be associated with the normal hiring process. This agreement covers approximately 8-week period from June 30th, 2017, at a contracted rate of $70 an hour. This rate includes the compensation paid by GovTemps USA to the individual, as well as the related payroll taxes and overhead through its customary in such agreements. This agreement has provisions for possible extension through August 30th, 2017 if needed. Sufficient funds are available in this budget for this purpose.
right, thank you, Brian. This item is up for expenditure of funds. Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing there are none, any questions or comments from the public? Let the record reflect there are none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
Trustee Mangan?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 10, any further comments or from the board or staff? I'd just like to say and to reiterate what I've mentioned last night in my remarks. Please bear with us as we're ironing out the kinks. This is certainly a change of pace, but we're willing and eager, and we will get there. So please bear with us. I'd like to acknowledge all the staff that has worked tirelessly over the last couple of weeks to bring everybody up to a comfortable speed and where they're at, and comfort in the fact that we're up here conducting village business. So staff, congratulations to you. Thank you very much for your dedication to this.
I second that, Mr. Mayor. I second that.
Anyone else from the board care to comment? Or anybody else from the board care to comment?
I just wanted to say congratulations on a beautiful inauguration ceremony. I felt a lot of positive energy in that room from the community, the new board members, the whole team. I hope we can keep that energy going forward, stay focused on making Tinley Park a great place to live.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? No? Mr. Niemeyer?
Well, just two things. One, wanted to echo, the staff is really looking forward to working with the board. Echo what's been said. I think a lot of positive energy in the community as well as among the staff. My second issue is, unfortunately, one of our key staff members will not be with us after this meeting. The gentleman sitting across from the table here has recently offered a position in a much larger community down in the warm state of Texas, McKinney, Texas, and we're very excited for him, but we're sad for us. I know he's been with us, Steve has been with us almost 11 years. In my 3 years here, certainly has been a great asset to me, but more importantly, I think to the whole community. So this will be his last board meeting, even though he'll be at our COW meeting next week, so I wanted to formally recognize him. So
thank you. And absolutely, Steve. Thank you very much. Steve, on behalf of the town and certainly other board members, we wish you and your family the best of luck down in Texas. We are a little jealous about the weather, but we wish nothing but the best for you. So congratulations to you and your family. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate your service. Anybody else? All right. Item number 11. Very good. So it's unlike me not to have any type of remarks prepared, but I'd like to dive into item number 11. But before I do, please listen up for a quick second. I do have a couple things to mention. Before we get into the public comments, I'd like to introduce you to our new clock. I think it's above. I also want to discuss a few notes about decorum. As I've sat on this dais for the past 2 years now, I've seen our comment policy evolve from absolutely nothing to allowing what I would consider inappropriate statements from both from the dais and the microphone to one where I feel we are all getting somewhat comfortable with what we are doing today. I've learned an awful lot listening to all of the comments, and certainly will not impede upon anyone's right to address this board. But with that said, I do not intend to preserve, I do intend to preserve order during this process, and will make sure that the proper decorum is followed both by us and hopefully as well by the public. Also, as I believe everyone is getting used to it, it's very difficult for our staff to answer questions on the spot. And I don't believe it's fair to ask them to do so. So if you have questions, I am most likely going to ask staff to take notes and get responses back to you in a reasonable time after the meeting. Again, the Attorney General requires us to have a comment policy, and I believe we absolutely need to hear from you at our meetings. And if questions go beyond the routine, I'm going to direct staff to research issues and get get you an answer at a later date. So with that said, at this time, if anybody would like to step forward to the beautiful new podium here and state your public comment.
Thank you, Mayor Vandenberg. Mike Paws here. You've probably seen me at some of the previous meetings. But in any case, I wanted to thank you again for that wonderful speech you gave last night. I saw that was recorded from the side. Is that going to be posted?
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
It's on YouTube, and I believe it's going to be on Channel 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Perfect, thank you. I wanted to thank Kristen and Laura for getting links from the calendar to the website. I think that makes it very easier to see once you know what's going on, and then you see the agenda right away with a link. That's very helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you, Kristen and Laura. Of course, the podium. Let this be a lesson that persistence does, in fact, pay off. Sometimes you have to carry a podium in for about 4 months, but it's all here. So thank you, everyone that participated in getting that. I appreciate it, especially Lisa. Thank you. I know I'm trying to keep the questions to a minute, but can we confirm that the May meeting of Farr & Associates for TPMHC is, in fact, canceled?
I believe we can.
Okay, thank you. And then my final statement in regards to what I was kind of bringing up at the last meeting in regards to how Tinley Park Mental Health Center is, in fact, zoned ORI, as you mentioned at the time, Mayor. That's office and restricted industrial. As I've mentioned in previous occasions, Mr. Farr and his associates say that there is no control by the Village of Tinley Park. That is not true. It is zoned. It is part of Tinley Park. Just because it is owned by the state doesn't mean it is exempt from zoning laws. It is zoned ORI, and there is no mention of the words landfill or solid waste in the zoning code. So at bare minimum, in my opinion, I think it would be at minimum, you would have to have a special use for it. I did bring some of these concerns to the Plan Commission as well, that this, would probably be coming before them to start thinking about it. But to say what Farr & Associates is saying, that there is no control by the village, that is why we have, zoning. That's why we have things zoned certain ways. There is a level of control. If you read the description of office and restricted industrial, it basically says, office buildings, yes, industrial, if it can be made to be looking unobjectionable and park-like, I believe was the term. And I don't think a landfill would, so I really don't appreciate just to extend what I was saying last time, I really don't appreciate what Farr & Associates here is saying with this threat of it becoming a landfill. It's extremely highly unlikely. And the state just can't rezone it because as a home rule community, I believe, Counselor, we have zoning authority over our, what's within the village boundaries, correct?
We do with some exceptions, but yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
a fair statement.
Cool, thank you.
Welcome. Mr. Holly?
I just got a few comments. First, I want to say congratulations to new trustee. It looks like if I say Mike, I've got 3 people up here who look at me and a few behind me. I want to say thank you to Steve for his service. I've had many good conversations with you professionally and just career-wise, and I appreciate that. It's very odd having a trustee or Brady up here, or as I've known him for the past about 23 years, Mr. Brady, my neighbor. Well, first question I have is, we discussed this earlier, Mr. Connolly, but so the new, I guess, lawyer contract, or whatever it may be called.
From prosecutions.
Yes. Is that hourly rate any different from the previous contract of a different law firm? Okay, so it's the same. Okay. And I guess my last question that I have at the moment is, I guess for you, Mayor Vandenberg. Previously, Mayor Seaman used to have coffee with the mayor on every single Saturday, or the first Saturday of the month. Am I aware? I'm very well aware that you have your own business and you've got 2 little kids and a family yourself. Do you think that it would be reasonable that sometime within the month, not necessarily on a Saturday, but once a month, that there would be an allocated time for an hour or 2 to meet, for yourself to be open up to have residents come talk to you and address you?
Absolutely. That question was asked to me a little earlier today. I'm working on that. I need to iron out a couple things at my office and make sure that I could dedicate specific time. But yeah, I do have the intention to do so.
And I honestly don't think it necessarily has to be something that's concrete, like not every single first Saturday more of the month. I know, like I said, well over that you're a dad and you want to spend time with your kids. And hopefully, I'm not sure if it was previously. I know it was kind of somewhere on the village website, but at least hopefully the village can share that on their social media page, so the rest of the community can know about that.
Absolutely. I'm always available, Lucas, you know that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else care to comment?
I won't make it over there, but I think everyone can probably hear me. Do the citizens of Tinley have visibility to the purchasing policy within the village? Can we see that? Can we see that best practices are in there, and when you follow that and when you don't follow that, and why?
Mr. Niemeyer could comment on that. But
Sure, yeah, we just passed a new purchasing policy just in the last 2 or 3 months. So I'll check to see if it's on the website. If it's not, we'll make sure and put it on.
Okay.
Okay?
yes, sir.
Mr. President, board members, quick question to the village attorney, maybe to head off any speculation. Would I be correct in assuming that the recommendations that Trustee Mangan abstained tonight from most of the votes was due to the fact that he was just appointed and wouldn't had a chance to be briefed on all the items on the agenda? Okay,
That would
good.
be correct.
Thank you. My main concern here is I've had a chance to take a quick look at the lawsuit that was filed yesterday by the village. I suspect because it was filed yesterday, it was not done at the direction of this current board. My concern about it is being somewhat experienced with litigation and especially with insurance policies, directors and officers, and errors and omissions policies. Somebody on social media raised the thought that it's possible the village insurance might have to provide a defense to Amy Connolly for this lawsuit, as the allegations arise out of her activities as a director of planning. And my initial thought kind of goes along with that also. And while I can certainly see the need that people be held accountable for what happened, I'm not sure that, and again, I haven't seen our own insurance policies, but I'm not sure if the correct move in this situation is to file a piece of litigation for which not only we might have to defend her, but also potentially have to indemnify her for her actions as a village official or village employee. And it would seem like we're chasing ourselves on this one here, unless I'm missing something about this piece of litigation or our own insurance coverage. We might be just hitting ourselves in the foot on this matter. So I don't know who went ahead and filed it, who thought about it, but I think maybe somebody should take a real close look as to whether or not we're doing ourselves a disservice by putting ourselves in a position of having to, again, not only defend her, but possibly even pay any award to ourselves as a result of any action that she did, because the suit does allege that these activities were in the course of her employment, and while they were breaches of fiduciary duty, I didn't see anything in there that went to fraud or anything to the point that might potentially take it outside of insurance coverage. So I would ask that somebody take a real close look at that matter and think about whether or not we need to pursue that particular lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to comment? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm David Dome, and Mayor Vandenberg, trustees. I read in the Tinley Junction about that 280 acres at 183rd and Harlem, and most of the input was more for residential, apartments, condominiums. But then I read an article about Caterpillar. Now, Caterpillar is moving its offices apparently up to Deerfield. And I thought that property, if it was, the information was properly put forward, that could actually be a major corporate site. You know, a Fortune 500 company. You got prime 280 acres. You've got 3 airports in that vicinity. Gary Airport, which is, by the way, Boeing's corporate aircraft are there, but they're called BBJs. They've got 2 of them, Boeing business jets. You've got Joliet Airport, which isn't that far away. And then, of course, you got Chicago Midway. And what a lot of these places look for is where they're going to put their corporate flight departments. And if I were a major corporation and knew about that property, and especially easy access to I-80, 57, I mean, it's prime location for a major corporation, a Fortune 500 company, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of pluses that property could be used for. And then you're talking about, with a major corporation in there, you're going to have more people coming into the area, more tax benefits. I mean, and talk about putting Tinley Park on the map. Got a convention center right across the street. I mean, I would be shopping for a major corporation to place its corporate headquarters in that area. Everyone looks to the north side, northwest side, Chicago. What about Tinley Park? I mean, that is prime property as far as I'm concerned. And my background is in aviation, and I work with corporate flight departments such as Motorola, General Electric up in New York, upstate. I mean, matter of fact, with Boeing, Lockheed Martin. I mean, if I were going to develop that property, I'd be looking at a major corporation to fill that area, or at least a portion of it anyway. Those are my thoughts, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you. Certainly, all of us will take that into consideration. Thank you. Appreciate you coming up. Anyone else care to comment? Okay, let the record reflect there are none. Item 12. At this time, I have a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Trustee Panito. Roll call.
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
Trustee Mangan?
Abstention? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no notice coming out of this executive session, so this will conclude our meeting this evening. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the help.